Lost Me is one of my favorite rabbit holes I love falling into. Whether it's a TV show that only aired once and being remembered by two people, a deleted scene with gore from one of the most family-friendly and safe companies, or a video game that only a few people have played before being locked away. The thought of a piece of media that the majority can't access due to multiple factors is always fascinating. And Pretty Cure, being the mega cash cow that it is, it's no shock that it has some pieces of media that became lost over the years. Today, I want to highlight this specific part of it. The many dubs that were made that most of us fans haven't seen, hidden away in Toei's archives. Without further ado, let's see what its dubs are. 31 Toei Pilots. Status: Lost. From 2005. Once Pretty Cure was a success in Japan, where every little girl wanted to be Cure Black or Cure White, Toei wanted to turn Pretty Cure into a worldwide phenomenon. And one of the first places to dub it was in... The network wanted to hype up this new show, but the German dub wasn't ready yet. So, there are some English dub clips Toei gave them as promos, like Hallo Leute, die deutsche Synchronisierung ist nicht bereit. Start hier gibt dir Englische! Soon, Toei launched a webpage called PrettyCure.tv with the purpose of getting potential licensors worldwide. And one of those sections was a trailer one where various English dub clips were posted. And would you guess it? It featured the same cast as those German promos. As you can see from these screenshots, you can still access the website on the Wayback Machine. However, sadly, the trailers are not out. Only a few actors have been identified, those being Lara Chloe as Larissa Stephanie Singh as Hologram / White. But I guess that she will dub another Pretty Cure 10 years later. And Doug Stone as villains, most likely Caesar or Revival. But wait, there's more! This isn't the only Pretty Cure pilot Toei did around that time. In Anime Expo 2007, they showcased Pretty Cure Max's English dub. According to an anonymous account, they claimed this was a mislabeling, and they actually showed episode 30 of Taiwan. Stephanie Sey was Larissa and they also show an English dub splash cam. It's been speculated that the English trailers Toei Commission made by Ocean for the European market could have featured the footage from those pilots, but nothing has been confirmed. Also, the Futariwa trailer was taken down, making more lost media. Thanks, Toei! There's just so much to unpack here. Pilots are usually done for testing purposes, and rarely get shown to the public once their purpose is fulfilled. Our best hope is that Toei Americans division still has access to some 15-year video files, that they haven't been deleted once an actual dub went into production, which seems unlikely. Though I do hope the PrettyCure.tv clips get resurfaced again someday, since they were available on the internet and it aired on a major German network. Maybe some German anime fans still has recordings for that time. And for that, ich sollte mein Deutsch vergewissert. So, actually, the whole German TV segment where Pretty Cure was featured has resurfaced! Now we can enjoy Pretty Cure the way it was meant to, by watching some proof of concept clips that Toei never meant to show again 15 years later.
People make wishes when they see shooting stars. Sometimes their wishes come true. Wow. I wonder what it is. Nagisa, we need your help! What are we supposed to do?
Futari and Max are Singaporean dubs, from 2006 to 2008. Status: mostly lost. Did you know before the fan-favorite Ocean Productions dub, there was a full dub of Futariwa? Not only that, but they got around dubbing Maxar too. Kids Central was a popular kids TV block in Singapore. Their original programming, popular Western cartoons, tokusatsu, and of course, anime, with one of those being the first 2 seasons of Pretty Cure. This dub was done by Singaporean dubbing company Voiceovers Unlimited, which are known for quality from their dubs I have been found.
Monkey, come on, hurry, now's your chance to beat me. Huh? What? Come on, attack me, beat the evil duelist inside me now. But then, what's going to happen to your soul if I do beat you? I don't care, it's better than living in evil. Come on, hurry. Now, you tricked me.
What's been fun from the Pretty Cure dubs are most of their episode titles, Max Heart's opening and ending which were kept in Japanese, and an incomplete promo which gives us a small idea of how this dub was.
Be amazed.
Protector of the light, Cure Black!
Fascinated.
Protect.
Here's a known voice cast. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these Singaporean Chinese names. I'm very sorry. Chiu Supi as Nagisa / Cure Black, Miriam Becca as Honopa / Cure White, Chelsea Kurto as Porin, Edward Choi Ken Chung as Fuji P and the Boy in the Mansion, Sean McCabe, Hilary Blazer Doyle, and Denise Tan also did voices in the dub, but which characters they play is unknown. I personally believe this dub can be found someday, even if it is one episode. It aired for 2 years on a mainstream network. It was at one point on YouTube if the so live journal reports are true. Heck, maybe if we're lucky enough there's an old TV reported on YouTube that became lost once Pretty Cure became more well known in the West. I believe the best strategy to find its dub is to find someone who loves TV rips from Cute Central and is still active to this day. They might have recordings and they don't know they own a piece of lost media. Hopefully we get lucky enough to find such person. At least we could have a good laugh going by voiceovers and leaving a track record if it gets found.
You call yourself pirates?
Who are you?
Me? I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Hi.
Futari wa 4Kids dub. Status: Existence unconfirmed. From 2006. Now here's the thing foily one. Back in New York Comic Con 2006, 4Kids announced that it got the rights to Pretty Cure, and it was going to air on the 4Kids vlog next fall. Come fall 2006, and Pretty Cure never aired on the vlog, letting the rights expire instead. Now here's where it gets tinfoily. No footage has ever been found, or any sort of localization plans good that this is 4Kids heavily. Not even the names were Nagisa and Honoka, the main characters, though they probably gave them super generic names like Nicole and Jane. But given that they had the confidence to say it was going to end the 4Kids vlog in fall 2006, just a few months away from the announcement, they must at least have pilot done to show this at the time new show to their network and internally at 4Kids. It seems very odd to make an announcement that you're going to air a new show, just taken out without giving a reason. I got a theory on why this dub didn't went through. In the 2000s, most kids dubs were usually driven by the need of selling merchandise.
Walk this way, take a look. We put the picture's name on everything. Merchandising, merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
4Kids didn't continue the movie Power Dub because they couldn't get a toy line deal. They didn't even air the last episodes in the US so as to not leave kids in a cliffhanger. And the Magical Doremi toy sold poorly, leaving the second season not being aired on TV and only being released to 4Kids website. Also, plans for a second wave of toys were cancelled. Pretty Cure is a franchise driven by how many toys can you sell. Maybe retailers didn't want anything really new if the Doremi toy line was gathering dust on shelves. And with no toy line, no job. That's just sadly how it worked. But it does make me wonder, what kind of universe would it be like if 4Kids stopped Pretty Cure?
Alexa, you're here!
Let's go, Jessica! Rainbow Wave! light. I'm pure black.
Warrior of the light, I am pure white. The two of us are pretty pure. Dark and evil villains.
Prepare to get pretty cured.
I don't know, I guess it won't be that different. But at the same time, I want to live in a universe where Tony winner Andrew Reynolds voices a Pretty Cure character.
No, I'm not having gay thoughts.
Yes, Pretty Cure 5 dub pilots. From 2011. Status: Lost. In 2011, IMDb got a song listed of a Yes Pretty Cure 5 dub. At first, this may seem like a hoax, given that you always find fans doing cast lists of what they wish a dub would be like. But, digging deeper, it does seem like a real deal. The voice actors all have done work for William Winkler Productions, a small production company in LA, which have done work for Toei around the time, with compilation films of the properties. And William Winkler himself has confirmed this was a pilot that he worked on.
And then I did pilots. I did pilots for Digimon, and I did pilots for Pretty Cure 5. And those turned out great, you know. Pretty Cure 5 was sort of like a Power Rangers with girls.
I found this interview with William Winkler around the time the dub was made. While it doesn't mention Yes Pretty Cure 5 by name, he does mention dubbing the songs in girl shows, which I will go into much detail discussing which episodes they possibly dub. For now, let's go over the voice cast. Maureen Harrington as Priscilla / Cure Dream, Laura Siegel as Celine / Cure Rouge, Alexa Khan as Erica / Cure Lemonade. Yes, I forgot there was already an Erica in Pretty Cure. I really wonder what they would use for Erica / Cure Marine. Aurelia Sheepers as Kimberly / Cure Mint, Beth Ann Sweezer as Karen / Cure Aqua, Brian Forrest as Coco, Bradford Hill as Nuts, William Winkler as Claw Mantis, G. Larry Butler as Singer Sam, Kyle Rhea as Tiger, David Gerald as Wilbert, Michelle and Robert Tousignan as Children. Really great name, you guys. Alison Liz Taylor as the narrator, and Jason Barker and Donna Ekblunt did additional voices. I'm going to try and guess which episodes they dub by the cast list. This is just pure speculation, so don't take it as gospel. Now let's see. Milk isn't mentioned anywhere in the cast, so they didn't dub anything past episode 21. Clement is just getting man, and he gets killed later on. Michelle and Robert were child actors and are either siblings or cousins. They could have played linked siblings. Oddly, Mika is nowhere on the cast. William mentions the difficulty of dubbing songs, and Erica does sing at one point. And they probably wanted episodes where the entire team was featured. So, here's my possible results. They dub episode 6, 7, 13, 14, 17, 19, or 20. I heard rumors that this stuff was actually made as a learning tool to help Japanese kids learn English, mainly due to a few William Winkler productions only being available in Japan. But I haven't been able to find concrete proof about his dubs being used to help Japanese kids learn English. I got another possible reason this dub got made. Judging by the fact it was done a year after the Ocean production stuff finished airing in Canada, and the use of localized names, I wouldn't be surprised if this was an attempt by Toei to get TV networks like YTV to air more Pretty Cure sisters again. But it didn't work out for Toei this time. I wonder why the Main Street Network didn't pick up Yes Pretty Cure 5. Hardcatch Pretty Cure French movie dub. Status: Mostly Lost. From 2011. I know this one is in English, but it's a very interesting story in the hell that is getting Pretty Cure licensed in the West. Plus, we need to highlight non-English lost media. So, here's the story. Despite France being an awesome place when it came to dubbing magical girls, shoujos, or toy properties in the 2000s, shockingly, they never came around dubbing Pretty Cure. That is until 2011, where Toei Animation Europe decided to bring over the Frenchiest piece of Pretty Cure, Hardcatch Pretty Cure the movie. In a special cinema event, mainly to see French little girls like Pretty Cure, any French TV networks will be interested in airing the show. The event was huge. There was a fashion show for the kids, snacks, a photo booth. They even brought cute blossoms and marine skiurumi so you can take photos with your kids of this magical event. They also gave a goodie bag and... Holy crap! Are those official Pretty Cure ceiling fans? I need to get those! The characters received localized names that will be used if the series was dubbed. The names being... Tsubame became Flora, which I personally love it since it goes perfectly with her love of flowers. Erika stayed the same. Itsuki became Hana, which I hated it. It wouldn't work if you want to dub the series. It was an entire plot point where Flora thought she was a boy and had a crush on her. I guess naming her Alex, Sam, Chris, Danny, Ash, Max, Jamie, Ellie, June, Finn, Charlie, or Ron was way too hard for whoever came up with the names back at Toei. Yuri became Julia, which is a fine choice, but I think Lily would have been a better option, so it has the same meaning as her Japanese name. Momoka became Marika. I know nobody got that joke, but I just couldn't help myself. Cope became Zip. Yep, that's what they chose. And Popori became Vivi. All English terms such as the attacks were translated into French. Now all of you have to suffer through my terrible French skills so you have an idea how this stuff sounded like. Pretty cute? Où est mon cœur? Je suis cute blossom! Commissaire, pourvoir de fleurs! Baguette de fleurs! Ha! Fleur brillante! Pretty cute? Back Fox de Rose! Very little is known about who worked on this dub. Here's what I've been able to find. Antoine Noël was the director behind this dub. He dubbed other toy properties into French like Dragon Ball GT, Kai, and Super, Sailor Moon Crystal, and Saint Seiya Omega. Leslie Lee Kahn voiced Flora / Cure Blossom. Ya Gabrielle voiced Erika / Cure Marine. Dolly Van Den voiced Hannah / Cure Sunshine. Coralie Koska voiced Sakura and Bibi. And that's all we know on who worked on this dub. But wait! The mystery of Pretty Cure in France isn't over yet! There's the last French dub of Yes Pretty Cure 5! There's nearly no info of it outside of the small voice cast. It's most likely a few episodes and was done to sell Pretty Cure to potential networks. Judging by the localized names and Leslie being back, it was probably done around the same time as the Hardcatch dub, though this time being for the show since Arachnia is mentioned. Sadly, despite Toei themselves saying the screening was a success, Hardcatch never got picked up in France, and it wasn't until Glare Force where Pretty Cure got a wide release in France. Now, with France being one of the regions with the most Pretty Cure on streaming sub, I do hope maybe someday it could get a wide release dub, given that French is such a beautiful language. I don't believe both dubs can be found. Our best hope is that Toei Europe has an archive of them, and an employee could leak it into the public. But given how much of an obscure franchise Pretty Cure is, the risk isn't worth it. Another hope is that someone managed to sneak a camcorder in the screening and record the entire movie without getting caught, which seems nearly impossible, but the chance is out there. Another possibility is that Toei could have given small clips for promotional purposes to journalists and potential licensors, but sadly, nothing has resurfaced. I also think this dub is important since it shows there were other attempts at bringing Pretty Cure in non-English speaking countries. Who knows what other pilots Toei did that weren't shown to the public? Maybe there's a Russian Fresh, or a German Splash Star, and an Indian Sweet. Conclusions. With how many dubs we saw today, it's a shame it seems most of them will most likely remain lost due to Toei's strong grip on them, and Pretty Cure's obscurity in the West. But one will never know when suddenly someone leaks them to the public eye. Or will it remain in an archive, hidden away in gathering dust, remain a mystery to those curious enough who heard them one way or another?